Hey, what's up? This is Joel from Joel Does Music. For today's interview, I had an amazing and funny conversation with my good friend, Kailie Simpson. She's a phenomenal singer based here in New Jersey who's very much influenced by classic rock. Now, think Janis Joplin, the Rolling Stones, and Led Zeppelin. You know, all that good stuff.
Question everything, 'cause what you see, what you'll get, mind controlling of the rest.
We spoke about a plethora of topics like her dropping out of college to pursue music full-time, the journey that she went through in her 20s, both personally and as a musician, and where she's at now as she just turned the big 3-0. So if you like what you see, why not hit the like button and subscribe because numbers. All right, here's my interview with Kailie Simpson. Much love and good vibes. What's up? My name is Joel, and this is Joel Does Music, live from the Content Factory right here in my living room. My guest, this is long overdue, a good friend of mine. Very happy to call her a good friend of mine, too, by the way. She embodies rock and roll, in my opinion. You got the sultry and powerhouse vocals, guitar riffs with swagger. She makes classic rock look cool as hell for Gen Z, and she's the only audition that I ever bombed for.
Oh,
but it's all good.
That's not true.
It is true, in my own opinion.
True.
From Jersey, my girl, Kailie Simpson.
Hello. Well, thanks for having me. I'm actually going to take these off because I'm looking at myself and I'm like, oh, that's not cute.
I like to monitor my audio. That's why I'm keeping the cans on, as I
That's
say. Thanks for coming by, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Wait, you did not bomb.
Well, you ever seen that Thomas the Tank Engine meme, but he's an airplane and there's like a bombing behind him?
I don't think so.
I'll show it to you later, but that's how I felt. I went in and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do the best that I can. And when I left, I was like, yeah, nah, definitely not.
To be honest, I don't remember it I don't remember specifically your audition. I can't pinpoint exactly, but I do know that you were not one that came in unprepared.
I tried my best.
You did not, because there were some people that came in that they didn't even know what songs we were talking about.
Get out, really?
I think you were like one of the first ones that came in too. And I remember,
Was I
think so. Because Brian actually came in too.
Yes.
And then there was like a few other like random people. But I remember, because I we knew each other.
A little bit, yeah.
Like,
we had
not,
mutual friends.
Yeah, you weren't like
Yeah.
a complete stranger. Some guys came in like as complete strangers, they heard through the grapevine or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But I remember no, you did not bomb at all.
And I knew I was going to get the text like, hey, thank you, but we're moving forward. I was like, it is what it is.
But look, here we are now. It wasn't supposed to be that way. It's
3 years
supposed to be this
later.
way.
Still friends, and I love it.
Hey, I love it, yeah.
Thanks again for coming.
And you were in the music video.
I was. Oh, we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Okay. I get ahead of myself.
Kailie Simpson, modern day classic rock artist. Let's talk a little bit about your beginnings and then we'll go into what's coming up next for you. You have a lot of exciting things coming up. I'm so happy for you.
I'm excited too. I'm happy for me too, honestly. I'm just going to say it. Yeah.
See, number one cheerleader, your own damn self.
It wasn't
I love
always that way, but I'm here now.
happens.
I've arrived.
Listen, also, by the way, happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Big 3-0. That's a journey.
Yeah. We love 30.
So far?
Yeah. Yes.
I know.
I'm 4 months in and I'm like, I can't imagine not being 30.
Yeah. I know we were talking a little bit about it, actually a lot about it before we started recording.
Yeah, we should have had the camera in the kitchen.
Yeah, we should have. Drinking sangria. This episode sponsored by Sangria. Yellowtail
Yellowtail.
Sangria.
Oh, that's so funny.
I love it. So let's go a little bit into your beginnings and then going into the whole journey that you went through and where you're at now and where you want to be. So growing up, you kind of liked pop music more, right?
I did. I used to be really insecure about this this question because I always felt like I never grew up knowing the greatest rock and rollers. I didn't know music history. I didn't know. My parents, wonderful people, but they were not musically inclined. So we were listening to Z100, PLJ, 102.7. Like, that's what we were listening to. And so I knew all of the pop and like the top 40. And I freaking loved it. And I was very into Broadway when I was younger. I was always a performer. If there was a reflection and I was in front of it, I was performing in front of the mirror, in front of a TV reflection. I loved every type. I was in theater. And I was such a fangirl. Like, I was the biggest fangirl of everything, whether it was Hannah Montana, the Jonas Brothers, just Disney Channel. Twilight. Like, I just always was into pop culture.
Yes.
And I grew up that way. And it wasn't until my 20s where I started to discover my own personal style that I realized like, oh, there's a whole different world. And then that's where the whole insecurity kind of tied in because I didn't know who like Jimmy Page was or something, you know, like I would be in these studios like creating rock music and people are like referencing things and I'm like, I have no idea like what is happening at all.
Wow.
Yeah. I just was winging it. Luckily, like I have a manager who's very educated and he's in the music business. So, you know, he really held my hand through a lot of it. And he used to always say like, don't be insecure. Like you are who you are. And the pop music raised me. Like I think that I write in a very pop structure. Like I do the whole like, you know, verse, chorus,
et cetera,
bridge,
et cetera.
chorus, outro, like the whole thing. And it's very, you know, I'm into the hooks and I'm into that type of storytelling. But then I fell in love with the band sound and the guitar riffs and I love jamming. I personally can't shred it on a guitar, but that's why I have 2 guitar players because they'll do it for me. But what got me into rock, it was Janis Joplin. I think I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, go on.
You're not even have to ask me one damn question.
I knew. I was like, I know where this direction's going.
Just, you know what? You could go. I'll sit here and I'll just talk.
I'm going to leave my own apartment. How about that?
I'm like, wait, I'm answering questions that you didn't even ask. This is good practice, though. I need to learn how to interview better.
Just be yourself, my friend.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
So it was always pop. I was always big on pop. And it wasn't until my early 20s where I started to discover more rock, and it was Janis Joplin that kind of switched me over. And it wasn't even so much like rock, it was the performance, the raw authenticity that I felt like I always had, that I didn't know where it was coming from or how to channel it. And I saw her and I heard her and I was like, oh, like that makes sense. Like
that's when it clicked for you.
Yeah, I was actually vacuuming I was living at home still, so I was in my childhood bedroom, teenage bedroom, and I was vacuuming. And I remember like people telling me like, "Oh, have you ever heard of Janis Joplin?" And I was just like, she doesn't do it for me. And like one day I was just vacuuming and I was like, let me put it on. And I put Little Girl Blue on. And oh my God, I turned the vacuum off and I just sat there and I cried. And I was like, oh, like I get it now. And I must say, I think John Mayer might have said something along these lines. I am a big John Mayer fan, and I used to watch a lot of his interviews. And he did say something once about like the greats being great, whether or not you know it just yet. Okay. So for instance, like from Jersey, we love Bon Jovi or like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And it's like, you might be like, yeah, Bruce Springsteen's not for me, but maybe because you listened to it when you were 20 and maybe in 20 years from now, you'll hear it again and be like, it clicks finally. Like he's pretty much just trying to say like, it's like a book. How many times have our great literature wasted on teenagers and high school? And then you read it in your 20s or your 30s and you're like, this is the greatest book I've ever read. And you're like, wait, I read this when I was 15 and it went right over my head.
Exactly. You just don't understand the meaning behind a certain piece of art until you're older and go through more experiences.
Yeah, and it's really not even age, because obviously, you know, I know people that have gone through experiences at 18 that I've never experienced yet. Like, listen, there's trauma that happens to us, like death of a parent. I fortunately do not know what that feels like. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter what age you are. You could be 16, 5, 25, 80, 70, like until you go through something, you might not click with the art until it's time for you.
Yep.
And so I just realized, oh, it wasn't until I got to my 20s when I heard Janis Joplin that it all started like making sense.
Yeah.
You know?
That's insane.
Yeah.
The fact that you were primarily like a pop girly into...
I still am such a
Still
pop
am.
girly.
I know. Listen, at the video shoot, you were referencing Hannah Montana. I'm like, she still got it.
I love Hannah Montana. And I love all like the new pop stuff. Like I'm always listening to pop music.
You like Chaperone. We were talking about her earlier.
Chaperone. And I'm a Swiftie.
You're a Swiftie.
Yeah. A controlled one.
A controlled one?
Yeah.
What's like your go-to? Actually, I'm going to backtrack. If you were to recommend at least 3 of her albums to like an entry-level Swiftie, what would you recommend?
I think it depends on like, again, it depends on who I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to you I have to give it to you. Like there's like younger girls that might ask me and I would give them like younger albums because it would make sense for like what they're going through.
Okay.
I think my favorite album ever is Red, but that's only because during the time it came out, it like really resonated with me. And I was like, it's like nostalgic. Like when I hear it, I go back to being like 20 and heartbroken or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it just like has a special place in my heart, but I don't think it's her best one. I personally love Tortured Poets Department that just came out.
Really?
It's an amazing album.
Okay.
Start to finish. I loved, like, it's hard. Tortured Poets Department, I loved Folklore.
Yep. Okay.
I really liked her more like singer-songwriter vibes.
Yeah.
If I had to pick like the best like pop album that she did, I think Reputation's like very high up there.
I was expecting 1989 from you.
That's a fun one.
It's a fun one.
I like all of them.
Yeah.
There's not an album I don't like.
Yeah. See, I'm not a Swiftie, but I do like some of her singles. Like, I think to this day, Style is one of her all-time greatest songs. You Belong With Me, too.
So good. So
See,
good.
I'm not going to try to sing because that's not my department.
No, it's
I'm the
okay.
guitar player and the bass player.
Yeah, there
okay?
you go.
So let's go a little bit more into your background
Yeah,
because
let's go.
I know you went to the same college that I did, William Patterson University.
Yeah.
Different majors, though. I think
Different
you were
majors.
a PR
I was a
major
PR and then I quit.
for music full-time.
Yeah, I like left college.
Okay, so I've always wanted to ask you this because it must have been just a really tough decision and like backlash would have probably sprung up. So when you decided to quit college to pursue music full time, I hope it's not like a traumatic conversation.
No, it's not.
But just because I always love when people decide, you know what, I'm going to go all in on my dream.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult, but I know what I want. Eye on the prize.
Mm-hmm.
How did your family react? What were you thinking when you officially dropped out of college?
To be honest, I don't even think it was like this deep thought. Like
Yeah.
for me, it was more of like, this is what I want to do. I remember I was in college. I was a PR major, and Larry, my manager's name is Larry, by the way. Whoever's listening. Yeah.
Let me not.
So when I say Larry, that's what I'm talking about. He was kind of like, hey, like I know somebody that wants to make demos and they need like a female vocalist to make the demos so they can like start pitching it to like whatever they were pitching it to. I didn't ask any questions. I was literally 20, 21. So I was like, okay, like, well, why not? I've got nothing to lose. I'll go into a studio. And I fell in love with it. And I was like, oh my God. And I was sitting in a college class, and one of the assignments was that I, as a PR major or like a publicist, had to pick a celebrity, and then I had to do some type of publicist situation with it. And I remember doing it, and I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I want to be the person someone's like doing it for, you know?
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, okay, I've always wanted to be a singer. I just didn't think it was logical or possible.
Sure.
And I decided, like, I'm going to take a year off of college. And so I told my mom, and my mom was like, yes, amazing, absolutely.
Wow.
My mom is always believed in me, always. And it's not to say that my dad does not. He absolutely does, but he's a little bit more logical.
And I get that. Trust me.
Yeah, he's
as
like,
a man,
why can't you just finish school?
Right.
Like, you could still do your dream and go to school, which is so true. Like, realizing it now at 30, I could have totally just finished school, had the degree, and it had been fine. Like, nothing would have changed, but that was my journey, it was my road, whatever. And I actually met him at Panera. I don't
Of all places?
I know. You know, Panera was actually really cool and big. Like, I don't think people go to it as much anymore, but
It doesn't feel
a
like as
spot.
hyped up now.
Yeah, like the broccoli cheddar in a bread bowl.
Banging.
And then like the green tea.
The chicken chipotle panini, I
Oh,
think
I
it was
never
the
got
melt.
that.
Banging.
Yeah.
Loved
the
it.
mac and cheese, my friends used to get that and they used to swear by it.
Yeah.
I never got that either. I was always broccoli cheddar in a bread
I could
bowl.
recommend the mac and cheese. I can vouch for
Yeah,
them.
it was good.
It was good.
Yeah, it seems like very like rich and creamy.
It was fine. Like, listen, it's chain food. What do you
Well,
expect?
but this is what I'm saying. I think the quality probably changed a little bit. I have not
Maybe.
been. Also, I was a lot younger, so maybe I just liked it. But
Same. Yeah.
whatever. We went to Panera, and I remember telling my dad, and he was kind of like, okay, listen, you have 1 year. And if
Oh.
you don't prove to me that you're taking it seriously, you have to go back to school.
Right.
So I was like, okay. And within that year, like, I didn't have any success. Like, there was no, because a music journey, as you know, it's not, you don't just all of a sudden succeed. There's a lot that I still had to learn. I never even wrote a song.
Yeah. It's
before.
not a linear direction
No,
you're going in.
But I've never even written a song. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh yeah, like it was like that. Like I taught myself how to play piano. I was going to open mics. I was learning how to strum on a guitar. I was writing music. I was putting myself out there
Right.
to get into the realm of music. I didn't even have music friends really. Like I wasn't in that crowd. It's not like that's where the insecurity also came in. Like
Yeah.
I didn't grow up at like a school of rock or like music school, you know, and where I made all these friends that were also musicians. Like all of my friends growing up were into sports or other hobbies that I wasn't into. Like
Yeah.
in high school, all my friends played sports. They were more jock-like, and I was in the chorus and the choir, but I didn't even do the play.
Wow.
which I regret. I do. I wish I did it, but I was like a teenage brat, I guess, and I
Okay.
just thought I was like too cool to do it, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
such a shame. Like when you get older, you realize like, no, do the things that you want to do. Like who cares what other people think?
I know, but listen, when you're a teenager, you obviously want to kind of impress your peers.
Sure, but it's so stupid.
It's not worth it.
It's
No,
not worth it.
you
And
grow
they
up,
also
it's like,
didn't even
why?
care,
I
'cause
know.
They used to all come to my chorus concerts and like cheer me on. So it's like, hello, imagine
Like,
I was in the play. That
they
would've
think
been
it's
so
cool.
fun. Yeah.
Yes.
I was like the friend that sang for everybody at like parties. They're like, Kailie, want to sing now?
Come on, that's a cool friend to be.
Yeah.
You got the
so-
talent for it.
Exactly. So,
Yes.
you know, I have like no regrets, but like I look back and I'm like, "Ugh, what a silly little girl I was. Like, ugh, I should have just like put myself out there more. So it wasn't until college and I had to like build community. I had to find the community. I didn't
course.
have it, which is funny because at Willie P, there's a great music program.
There is, yeah.
And it's funny too because there are a few people from the program that I did know. And eventually, once I actually left the school, I became more friendly with that department.
Right.
As like an outsider. And I actually would go,
Okay.
this might not be for everybody, but I actually went to one of the practice rooms with Gabe.
Get out.
He's from Big and Tall. He actually recorded all my new music.
So you've known him for all these years?
Get this.
Oh.
Get this. Gabe
Yes.
knew me even before college. And when I went to the studio to record, he goes, Kailie, I don't know if you remember. When I was about to quit college, before I like, because it takes a second, you don't just like not show up. I had to finish the semester and
Yeah,
stuff.
of
Like I
course.
didn't just like up and leave in the middle of it. I finished out the year, but it was like a decision that was made. But I started to go to piano lessons
Right.
At this like little place called Shamrock Music in like Pequannock.
Okay.
And I would take piano lessons, and my piano teacher was absent one day. And you know who was the substitute teacher? Gabe Valley.
There we go.
How crazy.
It all comes full circle now.
And now he's in my band.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
Like 10 years. It's been a decade.
How did it feel
Amazing.
to write your own original song when you decided, all right, listen, I'm doing this. It's time for me to put in the work.
Yeah.
Did it feel daunting or was it eventually a natural progression for you?
It was so natural. And it's funny because it's not as natural anymore. But I really, truly believe that it was the universe kind of being like, you're doing the right thing. So we're going to give you we'll give you a little push and it's going to flow out of you so easy. So you know that you are capable of doing it.
Yes.
You're still going to have to put the work into it. But my first few songs, I still play. Poor Man's Version is actually the third song I ever wrote in my life.
What was the very first?
It was called 11 Days.
Okay.
And that was out. I actually took it off of Spotify, not because I don't think it's good. It was just when I was like rebranding myself during my EP time,
Yeah.
which I was like, that was probably like in 2020 or 2021. I wanted my page aesthetic to like match what was happening
Yeah.
and not so much like amateur. It was very amateur. I'm so proud of it. It got me to where I am today.
Yeah.
But it just didn't make sense with how I was trying to promote myself. I could probably put it back. It would be cute to have like if people like are very into me to see like the progression of like
Oh, yeah.
it was literally like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like the poppiest sad ballad song that a 20-year-old or 21-year-old girl could write. It was just like me and a piano. And it's so cute. Like I was going through my first heartbreak. And so
Aw.
it was like, which probably helped. So thank you.
Good
You know who you
inspiration, of
are.
course.
I owe him a lot. I always joked to myself, I was like, when I make it big, that guy's getting a check. Because there's most of my music, honestly, up to like the last like 4 years, it's like half my set list.
Yeah.
It's just him.
Oh, my God.
I know. So much material. Good
Modern day
guy.
Taylor Swift you are.
Yeah,
there you go.
right? That's what it is. But we all write about our like love and our loss. And as I've gotten older, not all of my songs are about that. But
Right.
I just feel like I don't know why anyone gives anyone shit for that. That's just, it's universal. We've all had our heart broken.
Yeah.
We've all fallen in love to some extent, even if it's delusional, even if it's a crush. Like we all have felt those feelings. It's so human. And I think like I love songs like that. So
I just think for some people who are so against it, it's because they've heard it so many times or
Sure.
they have been blessed enough to go through love and kind of relate to it. So it's like, anything with love, cringe.
absolutely. But that's why it's like music is subjective. Like, okay, if you don't, that's not for you then.
Exactly.
And listen, like I have some songs that never made it out into a record and we never recorded it or we've never arranged it. And I've written so many songs that will never see the light of day. And sometimes my manager, Larry, he will say like, what about I have this one song. He's like, what about finally unbroken? And this one song about finally being unbroken, but then you fall for their tricks again, and then you go back to being broken, and it's like you have to go through the cycle of building yourself up and having self-respect again. And it's a whole song about that. And I love the song. I think it's a great concept. It just doesn't match who I am anymore as a musician. And so we play with ideas of like, okay, why don't we arrange some songs and like sell them?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, because even as the person creating them, I outgrow things, and I'm like, I don't want that to represent me anymore. Or that doesn't align with what I think. Like, even some of the younger pop girls now, I love their stuff. But sometimes I listen to the songs and I'm like, I just don't have that teenage angst anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's not for me.
No, it's not like you've moved on from it.
Yeah, like I have a life experience now where I don't feel the same way anymore.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's not great, you know?
It's just
not for me.
It's just you've gone through a journey through your 20s where it's like, all right, I don't relate to it. I still like it, but it's just not who I am anymore.
Exactly. And then there's also songs that I might not even relate to because I haven't experienced that yet, or I don't understand the depths of that artist at the moment, you know? And that's what music is so subjective and wonderful. Actually, you familiar with Casey Musgraves?
Oh, of course.
So Deeper Well,
Yes.
actually, she came out with that. I think it might be 2 years now, maybe.
Just about?
Maybe. And when it first came out, I remember listening to it, and it wasn't for me.
Right.
And then I heard it over the summer, and I was like, wait a minute. It's clicking. And that was a whole year after. And then recently, actually on my way here, I was listening to the song Deeper Well again, and I relate to it even 10 times more after going through what I went through the last few months in my own personal life. And I'm like, but this is my point. I heard it 2 years ago, and I didn't think it was bad because I'm a Casey fan. So I'm like, oh, yeah, she's talented. There's no denying it. I like it. But it didn't click. And it was like I had to go through an experience in my life where, oh my God, wait, clearly she went through a similar one, or at least it sounds like she did. And now it's like, and it makes sense.
Exactly. I feel like for music, or at least to go through that experience where it doesn't click for you during the initial listen, you go through certain things in your life, and then time and time again, it finally clicks. I just love that journey.
It's an amazing journey.
It is.
And that's why I also think it's funny when people judge people on their music taste, because I'm also like, do you not understand? Like, that is not, it's music.
Yes.
It's subjective. And I love all genres. Like, you could find me headbanging. You could find me dancing with my glitter cowboy boots. You'll see me singing Pink Pony Club.
Your little cheetah overcoat. Is it cheetah or leopard?
Oh, my God.
I know you posted a story where you explained the difference.
It is leopard.
Okay.
But I just think, like, saying, like, I'm a leopard girl, it sounds like leprosy. And I just, like, it just doesn't work for me. And the cheetah girls are a thing. So I'm like, I'm a cheetah girl.
Yes.
But I don't ever wear cheetah. Most people that are saying, oh, I'm wearing cheetah, you're never wearing cheetah. Cheetah is like this background color, but then it's just black dots.
Yeah.
So leopard has more of a print to it. It has more tone to it. It will have like the black and the brown, and like the shapes of the dots are all different.
Got it.
While cheetah, the shapes might be a little different, but they're like solid. You know, they're solid black.
Okay.
And then, then there's jaguar, and like that gets really confusing. So we're just going to talk cheetah and leopard. And everything I wear is leopard.
Okay.
But I will never say that. And I've actually made a PSA on my Instagram because people will correct me sometimes like, actually, that's leopard. I'm like, actually, I know, but it just sounds dumb.
You're just going to stick with it. Go by your own rules.
I'm a cheetah girl. Like, that's it.
I love it. Fair enough.
And the cheetah girls were never wearing cheetah either.
Boom, plot twist.
You know, like they were constantly wearing leopard. But like leopard girls, that's not good marketing.
Catchy.
That's just not.
It sounds like leprosy girls. Leprosy girls,
Yeah,
like,
like,
ooh,
right?
no.
It's weird.
Disney
But,
Channel, you got to backtrack.
Like, or even like leopard girls, like it just doesn't cheetah girls, like cheetah
Girl, it rolls off
cheetah
the tongue.
Sisters. Yeah, like leopard girls, that doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Sound good. It just. So yes, I know. I'm educated. I'm from Jersey. I know my leopard and my cheetah. And I even have a little. Oh wait,
what else you got?
I think this is not. Is this a tiger? What is this on my finger?
Oh my God.
What is that?
Look at that jewelry now. Let me see. Let me take a good look. That looks like jaguar.
A jaguar. Okay.
Jaguar. Jaguar ring, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. I always have to have something. If I'm not wearing, like, there has to always be cheetah around me. Like, I feel like it's my brand at this point. So,
that's your spirit animal.
Yeah, I don't know actually. Like,
really? What would be your spirit animal?
Okay, see, this is where I struggle because what does that really mean?
I think there is no definite
Like, is it
definition.
Is it just like what animal you want to be?
Like, what animal like embodies your personality? Or like, you know,
I would have to study animals then. I have to know
Like,
their personalities.
I'll give you an example. Okay. So my family always jokes that my spirit animal is a sloth because I do move slow. I just do things like at a very slow pace. I like to sleep all the time.
Okay.
And it matches my personality. And my girlfriend could attest to that too.
Yeah, I'm very, very high energy. I'm just like always going.
Organically.
And that's great. And then give me some coffee and then forget it.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got it all. But yeah, so maybe I love cheetahs. Like I think it's so cool, but I don't know what their personalities. I don't know if I just like their skin.
Well, cheetahs are fast animals.
Okay, I'm fast.
Predators.
I see.
You could change it from a different perspective. Like you're a go-getter. You're persistent.
Yeah, okay. We could say that. That's
there you
fair.
go. Change it around a bit.
There you go. Yeah.
I love it.
So sure.
So you were talking about your journey that you went through musically throughout your 20s. As someone who just recently turned 30, where are you at now? How do you feel about yourself now versus in your 20s?
I definitely find myself feeling more secure, and I feel as though I have been told for years by older women that your 30s are way better than your 20s because financially you're a little more stable. And again, you stop caring about what others think.
Yes.
Because I'm more, and it's not because I don't give a shit if you like me or not. Of course I care if people like me or if they take to me or they have positive thoughts about me. Obviously, I'm a human being. But I'm confident in myself to know that if you were to not like me,
right.
I know that I'm like, it's okay. Like maybe we just don't align or maybe something. It's not because it's like they didn't misunderstand me. It's just it doesn't work, you know?
And it's fine. Listen, you're not going to be able to please everybody.
No. And if you are trying to please everybody, which I used to, you end up losing yourself. You abandon yourself. And that is like a huge theme for me, like self-abandonment, because I always think of and I don't mean it like, I always think of everybody else and I'm just so selfless. No, it's actually so self-sabotaging to think that way, because when you're constantly thinking of other people's needs, you're actually doing them a disservice and yourself because you're not being authentic to yourself. Therefore, they can't even actually love you correctly or consume you correctly because you're not even showing up authentically. Because I was so worried about how you would perceive me that I was trying to fit this box that I made up.
Yeah, it's tough to gauge the person that you're looking at. It's like, all right, who are they really? How do I take them? It's really hard to gauge if you're acting that way.
Yeah, and when you get older, as I've gotten older, I started to like go back inward and say, okay, what are my morals? What are my values? And how do I want to be presented to the world as a human being and as a friend, as a lover, as a musician, as a daughter, as whatever, all the hats that I wear? How do I want to move throughout my life? And once I started looking inward, I started to realize like, oh, it's that simple. And when I turned 30, it's only been 4 months, but I made the joke. I was like, it's been the best 4 months.
It was funny. I'm like, girl.
It's only been 4 months. I'm just so wise now. I just let go of the need to have to be something that I think other people want.
Right.
I'm like, I'm good and perfect just the way I am. And as long as I continuously challenge myself to be better, that's all you can ask for.
It's about self-acceptance.
Yeah. And that's hard because we want to be accepted by so many people, but yet you don't accept yourself. Like, how does that make any sense?
I'm 6 months left until I'm 30.
So you're not wise
6
yet.
months left, no. But I think one of the biggest lessons I learned in my 20s is that you can't please everybody, and that this is the biggest one probably in my opinion. Comparison is a thief of joy. I would just go on and on looking at people's social media accounts like, damn, that should be my life. I wish I had that success. And it would drive me nuts. It's like, what am I doing wrong? I want more. I still do to some degree want more.
Yeah, we're human.
Exactly. But now I'm at a point in my life where, okay, listen, just be happy with who you are now, the person that you were meant to be, the person that you are and will be in the future.
Yeah.
It'll all fall into place. Just do you. Live your life with the people you have in your circle. Everything will be fine.
And also think of Joel 5 years ago.
Oh my God.
You're going to impress him, you know? That's who you should be comparing yourself to. Like anytime I do the same thing. Sometimes I'm like, why do they have this? Like I work just as hard. Or, But then you have to check yourself. You have to say, first of all, you don't know anything about this person.
It's all a facade.
Think obviously, because I'm posting, all of the things I'm even posting now, and everyone's messaging me like, "Oh my gosh, you're killing it." It's like, yeah. First of all of this content that you're seeing is most likely done like a month, 2, 3, 4, a year ago, because as a musician, you have to build. So then when it's time to release, you have the momentum. So you're seeing highlight reels. I'm also a 30-year-old woman. I'm not going to get on the camera and start like telling you my deepest, darkest secrets or what's going on in my life.
Yeah,
it's not everyone's business.
And people want to see positivity on social media. When there's negativity, it throws them off. They're like, ooh, what is this?
Well, listen, I will say as a musician, it is nice that I do, as a creative, as an artist, it is okay to be honest and vulnerable. And I have no problem saying negative things. And I don't mean negative like about people, just like my negative experiences or things that break my heart or things that are unfortunate. But my point being is that like social media is curated. Whether it's positive or negative, it's all a curation. You have to make the conscious decision to post it. And I just also think it's easy for us to be like, why them and not me? But you don't know what their journey is. And also you don't know where your road is leading. Maybe the reason you don't have that right now because it's not for you. That's not for you. And I always remind myself because in the past like 4 or 5 years, I have, really been out and about and on stage and really growing and evolving. And I've met so many amazing artists who have outdone me now. Like I have friends that I've met on the same stage and now they're touring the world.
Yeah.
And they have all of these fans and they're going to Europe and all these things. And I'm like, why them and not me? Like we started
kills you.
Yeah, and it does, but like with this specific person I'm talking about, an amazing human being. So we have a great friendship and it's fine and I'm so happy. But I would be a liar if I said I never sat there and been like, wait, what did they do right that I'm doing wrong? And as I continuously push myself, I realize it has nothing to do with what they do and what I do or what they don't do and what I don't do. That's their journey, like that's their story. Because I would be so sad if someone was watching me think about it. I look at it like I'm not successful yet, but there's someone out there that watches my videos every day and says, oh, if only I was like that.
Yes.
If only. I have people messaging me all the time, you're inspiring me, or because of you, I'm doing this. And I'm like, what? Oh, okay. So always remember, like someone's watching you just like you're watching someone else. And you just have to compare yourself to what you were doing last year or the year before that. And as long as you're growing and you feel like you are doing the best that you possibly can, and you're pushing yourself and you're honest with yourself, that's it. That's all you could do.
And the work has paid off for you, Kailie, because first off, you've done a couple of sold out shows. You sold out, I think, the Mercury Lounge 2 or 3 years ago.
It was Bowery.
Or was it Bowery?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever played Mercury Lounge.
I could have swore you did.
Maybe I did. Maybe I was like on a bill.
Probably.
I have the worst memory. Larry's good at that stuff. Larry would be like, you wore this and you sang this and this was the set list and it was that and that person was playing. And I'm like, good thing you're here because he's the only one that remembers things. I don't remember
photographic
anything.
memory on that man.
It's actually almost annoying sometimes. He's like, actually, in fact, that's not how it happened. I was like, oh, I trust you.
Well, the point is, you've done some sold out shows. You've released new music, which you're going to very, very soon. I was happy to be part of the music video. I think the last time you came out with a single was Question Everything. 3 years ago?
It was Question Everything, and then Time Waits for a Man came after. But Question Everything kind of performed better.
So during that 3-year gap,
oh my gosh,
what did you learn as a musician and your craft? I mean, this new song is so freaking good.
Oh, thank you.
It's simple in the best way, meaning that it gets the job done and the point across.
It's a fun one. The last 3 years was a lot, actually. After Time Waits for a Man, I did a huge, maybe 6-7 month run of show.
Yeah.
And it was really building a lot of momentum. I actually played at the Cutting Room and I opened up for this band from LA, Never Ending Fall. And they had a huge crowd.
Yeah.
And it was, oh my gosh, the adrenaline was crazy. It was honestly one of my best shows. And I just remember being like, this is it. We're just going to keep this momentum. Because that's really the trick with music. You want to, and I learned a very valuable lesson that when you are a musician and you find yourself in this momentum, you better be prepared for the next release. And I unfortunately was not. I didn't have anything up my sleeve.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Obviously, in the moment, I was so disappointed with myself because I was like, now what? Because I was gaining this following and I was gaining attention, but then they would come to my page and there was nothing left. I didn't have anything left to give. And, it takes a hot second to rehearse and write and arrange and record. And I do have a daytime job. Like I have to, and I pay for my career. So it's like, unfortunately, I don't have like thousands of dollars just sitting there where I could just like hop into a studio. Like I have to work for it and then budget for it and then be mindful of it. And also being a rock musician, I have multiple bandmates. So I pay them. Like I don't make them work for, I mean, they are working for very little, and I am so appreciative of them to believe in me and want to be a part of it. But first, it adds up. It does. It's a lot of money.
And it's mentally draining too because you're exerting yourself.
Yeah, and so that was a lesson that I learned. And so I fell off a little bit, and then other things happened in my life with my family, and so I was then distracted. And then my bass player, unfortunately, we parted ways. And so now I was like, oh my God. And then I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in. Like, because when I first started out when I quit college, I thought I was a big Adele fan and I loved torch songs. Like I loved ballad, torch, powerful music. And I loved the piano. So I thought that when I envisioned my future, I was like, oh, I'm going to be like that. Yeah. And then I started dabbling into like the band and the rock. And I was like, oh no, I'm going to be doing that. And then I realized the band is hard because it involves a lot of schedules. It involves a lot of people. It involves more money. It's a lot harder to travel. And I was like, shit, like maybe I should just go back to like me and the piano. And so I had a talk with my band and I was like, I want to take a little hiatus. Like, I don't really know what I want to do. And, we all kind of went our separate ways. And I spent a year just kind of just living my life, really. I had some songs up my sleeve, and then another year passed, and that's when I got to Big and Tall. Yeah. And I actually did all of that music with them. Like I had some of the songs arranged from the past with my band. Like I would bring my songs to my band and then we would arrange it all together. So some of the songs were already arranged. So Big and Tall, the studio, kind of just helped produce it. Yep. But then there was other songs that just were me and a piano. So we had to go through all of the instrumentation together. But yeah, so the last 3 years was kind of me realizing, oh, you better always be so freaking prepared because you never know when something is going to click. And if something clicks, like what's next? You don't have, I didn't have the privilege and the budget to just make something up. So that was a really big lesson. Then the hiatus, and then I went back into the studio. So this time I'm prepared. I have enough music to last me like a year and a half, and as that music comes out, I'm already recording new music for 3 years time.
That's awesome. You have a whole catalog.
Yeah, like because I'm like, no, that will never happen. But that's the journey. Yeah. Like you have to learn. How was I supposed to know that?
You're in a better place now. Yeah. With this whole batch of new music.
Oh, so much.
One of the singles you're coming out with, I believe it's the 22nd. So it might be out by the time. 21st. You know what?
Show's the 22nd.
Show is the 22nd.
So you are coming too.
Yes, I am. I live right around the corner.
I don't want to hear any excuses.
We Don't Stand Alone is the name of your upcoming single. When I heard it, it kind of felt to me like, correct my interpretation of it too, my friend.
No, however you want to interpret it, it's fine.
I interpret it as the journey that one goes through at a pivotal point in their life, trying to redefine who they are, looking back on the kind of person that they were in the past versus who they are now and being comfortable with it. And just knowing that, hey, you're not the only person that's going through this. I've gone through it. We literally do not stand alone.
Nope. I think that is a great, version of how you consumed it, because that is definitely how I had originally written it, because like the first few lines are more like introspective.
Very
like,
reflective.
I go back and forth with myself wondering if I lost my mind, but here I stand and I've come to realize about and it was my doubt as a musician on my journey. And I actually wrote it during my hiatus. And it was me going like, did I make the right decision? Because, musicians have normal friends. And I don't mean it in a mean way by saying normal. I just mean like, some people aren't creative or take the creative path. So they take a different path where it's like they go the job route. And that's hard in its own right. But sometimes it's laid out differently and there's a clearer path. And I remember being like, oh shit. Like, especially when you get older and like finances actually start to matter. Like when I quit college, I was 20 living at home. Yeah. So of course this is an amazing dream to have, because now I have like all this free time and I just get to sing all fucking day. Oh, that sounds really obviously amazing. But then it's like, then I move out And now, well, who's paying my bills? Oh, wait, I have to. And it's not that I never had a job. I worked my whole life.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to work the way I have to work now. Like I maybe had I had a full-time job, but again, it's different when you have a lot of bills that accumulate to thousands of dollars a month.
Exactly.
You can't be like shitting and giggling here.
No, of course not. You have to give.
And then you're tired. And then it's like, oh, now I have to go home and like write a freaking album? Are you kidding me? I don't have time for this. And then also I want to be a normal person too and a human, and I have to have friends, and I want to like experience things, and I want to have relationships, and the balance is a lot. And obviously sacrificing is a huge thing, and that song is kind of about that struggle of like, what type of sacrifices do I want to be making? What is it about life that I'm willing to give and take with? And then also it kind of took on a different spin too, because I also thought it could work, and it does work with like the political climate and like just our society and how we're so divided.
Yes.
And my point of that song is like, none of us stand alone. We all at the end of the day have the same needs and wants, and it's just to be accepted and loved and understood. And I think that's like the overall theme of the song of we all doubt ourselves, we all question things, and we all are just our little kid versions of ourselves that just want to hug and just want to be like, you're not alone.
We want
okay.
our blankies.
Yeah, you just need a hug, And that's what the song is about. And that's really, you can perceive it however you want, but I think those are like the two main themes about that song.
That's an amazing interpretation of it.
Yeah, there you go.
So is there one out of your whole batch of unreleased new songs that you listen to it and you think, these people aren't ready for it yet? They're not ready for it.
No, because I feel like people are absolutely ready for exactly what I am putting out. I think this first song is definitely a more, I call it like my cinematic piece, like anthemic one. And I don't think the rest of the songs match with that at all.
Okay.
Like what we're going to hear on March 21st has nothing to do with what's going to happen after. All of my songs from the one that's about to be released and then all the ones in my past, those are very like reflective songs, very relationship oriented, very more serious or more like heartbroken or in depth, right? After my March 21st release, the rest of the songs are fun rock songs. And it's funny because for a little bit, I was a little like unsure. I was like, oh, they just like, they don't really, there's no meat to them. There's no like, what's the message? And then I realized, you know what? They're fucking fun. And I am so tired. Like as just like a music listener, sometimes I love those songs that are just fun. I just want to have fun. Why does everything have to be like a message and serious and I have to like question my existence or I have to question the political climate of the world and I have to pick a side? I think the world genuinely needs right now fucking fun music where you can like, like this is so much fun. Like, and just and let loose and just like smile. And so all of the songs coming after, there's like 3 that I kind of clump together and they are just really high energy, fun rock songs. They have to do with, one is about being a woman because I love rock music, obviously, and I love Wolf Mother, and Wolf Mother has a song called Woman.
Guitar Hero 3, baby.
Okay. I didn't even know it was on Guitar Hero 3. Or is it
2, actually? 2.
I don't know. I didn't.
My game is right there.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to look into that. But yes, so I was listening to Woman, and Woman, 'cause I want to. Yeah. And I remember listening to it, and, rock is obviously way more male dominated.
Yes.
Like the pop scene is female dominated.
Right.
And the rock scene doesn't mean there aren't women in it. There are tons of women, but it's really male
They're
dominated.
outnumbered
which
by
is
men.
so fine. Like, that's cool. It's whatever. But as I'm listening to it, I'm like, I want to write a song for the women that love rock that are looking for a woman to tell you what a woman is. Like, and like sexy and talking about like your femininity and what we want. Like, because men are always like, you're a woman, like you're this, you're that.
Right.
Oh, you're hot. And it's like fun. It's like you shake your hips and you toss your hair. And as a fan of all these rock guys, I love it. But I'm like, where's the girl song for us? So I wrote a song called Woman. And it's about like what us women want from men. And like, and it's not in like it's in a fun, playful way. Like I want you to be teasing. Like it's like sexy and fun and
sensual.
flirtatious. Yeah, and it's like high energy and it's just fun, you know? And like I just want my next batch of music is for the girls. And it doesn't mean the guys can't listen to it too, but I was making it as I'm a listener and what I would want to hear.
That's a beautiful way to end the podcast episode. Wow.
Yeah.
Kailie, thank you so much for joining me.
We want girls to love rock and roll.
Amen, sister. Amen.
Yeah.
Kailie, thank you so much for doing this again.
Of course.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Before I let you go, this is a segment called The Floor is All Yours. You're going to look into that camera right there.
Okay.
Tell the world what you have going on next and where they can follow you on social media.
All right. Well, you can follow me on anything Kailie Simpson. So Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, whatever. I don't even know. Discord. I think I'm on Discord.
MySpace.
No, not anymore. I wasn't allowed to have a MySpace. Yeah, so Kailie Simpson everywhere. I have a song coming out, We Don't Stand Alone, on March 21st. And I will be back on stage March 22nd at Big and Tall in Woodridge, New Jersey. And then I will be playing the Whiskey A Go-Go the following Friday in California. So anyone that's watching that is from LA, come on out and see me. Yeah.
Kailie Simpson from New Jersey, my good friend. That does it for this episode of Joel Does Music. I've been your boy Joel. Kailie Simpson over here. Much love and good vibes. Peace out.